Good evening, this is NAGESH, Additional Secretary Retired, Team IAS Network. So today we are doing a topic on infrastructure relating to GS3 economy. So infrastructure is a major component of the syllabus which is found in economy. So in this we are doing one particular topic in infrastructure. We are doing the road sector. The question for discussion: the road transport sector is a key source of social integration and transformation. So in the light of the statement, highlight the problems facing the road sector, suggest reforms in 200 words. First, we go for a general introduction to the topic. We point out how India has the second largest network of roads with national highways, state highways, district roads, village roads. Then we have umpteen number of schemes relating to the road sector. We have the National Highway Development Program, Bharatmala, Special Accelerator Road Development Program. Then we have certain programs catering only to rural roads, construction and maintenance. That is the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana and the Bharat Nirman. So this brief introduction highlights the importance given to the road sector, and through the different programs how the government is trying to build up the road sector, road transport sector. So separate schemes are there for the urban sector, separate schemes for the construction and maintenance of rural roads. With this background, we go to the problems faced. In the first place, we speak of no holistic planning. So by this I mean how the policymakers are doing or going in for ad hoc measures and no concrete plan as such is developed. In support of this, I speak of poor intermodal connectivity. See, you take any urban metro. Now, there are multimodal, you have the public transport, city transport, you have the metro rail, then you have the suburban rail. But what happens? These three systems are not integrated. So, as a policymaker rightly put it, instead of taking people off the roads, we are adding people to the roads, adding vehicles to the roads because of the lack of intermodal connectivity. Then imbalance between other modes. So here also how the planning has led to too much of dependence on the road sector compared to the railways and the waterways. For instance, the economic survey speaks of 85% of the freight going through roads and only 35% through railways and other modes of transport. Poor safety, as evidenced by increasing road accidents, increasing poor road conditions, poor traffic conditions, leading to abnormally high death rates on the national highways and other state highways. Another important problem which we can highlight is the dependence on conventional energy. See, the highways are dependent on conventional sources of energy. The economic survey says 55% is dependent on petroleum products. So this is going to cut into the energy security. When you come to suggested reforms, the answer will we have split up into three parts. One is road connectivity, the other is road maintenance, third is road safety. When I speak of road connectivity, the first reform or the first suggestion I would suggest is increasing connectivity in rural India. Now there is a plan by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways to see that 35% of the core road network in rural India is completed by 2020 and 2000 kilometers of canal connectivity to ports and highways. So this is the first important reform, that is increasing connectivity in rural India. The second, public transport with private providers. As we have seen in many states, the question of public transport is a state monopoly. Now the Motor Vehicle Amendment Bill 2016 spoke of had a provision to put in more private players for the public transport. But for obvious reasons, even after the select committee scrutinized the recommendations of the said bill, this is still pending in Parliament. So this is another reform which we suggest: public transport with private providers. The third thing would be increasing the coverage of electronic toll connection. So in this, what we are trying to convey is improve the, like, what shall I say, extend the coverage of FASTag in all the national highways and other places, so that the movement of the traffic becomes smoother and the waiting time at the tolls gets reduced. So this is the first important recommendation or reform we suggest: road connectivity. The second thing would be road maintenance. Road maintenance, we speak of improvement in quality of construction of roads. So what we suggest would be improving the quality of road construction, improving the quality of the roads on bridges. Then we speak of additional funds for maintenance. See, if we see the budget of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, they have a central fund. Only 5% of the budget of the MORTH is designated or earmarked for maintenance. You take a country like the US, where 48% of the budget is earmarked for maintenance. So this is a glaring discrepancy which we see, that is, additional funds not being provided for road maintenance. Then the criteria for converting state highways to national highways, it should be foolproof, and there should be a method by which automatically the proposal of the state government for converting a state highway to national highway gets accepted, that there are no roadblocks or there are no procedural delays. This is one thing. The criteria should be streamlined and it should be made understandable, and it should be easily capable of easy implementation. The third reform which we suggest relates to road safety. In road safety, we speak of safety boards at the central and state levels. So safety boards which will be in charge of formulating policies at both at the central level and at the state level. Data to monitor accidents. This is another important thing. See, in this we can cite the example of Tamil Nadu, where they have a road accidents data management system. It is called RADMS, Road Accident Data Management System. So this will help in analyzing the accidents and it will enable the policymakers to take care of the black spots and to come up with a proper scheme to reduce accidents. The third would be infrastructure on the highways. By infrastructure on the highways, I mean, see, the existing, what infrastructure is available, whether it is by way of providing motels or by providing the roadside dabas and other amenities, truck bays, all this should be further strengthened. See, how the main need of providing infrastructure on the highways is to reduce the fatigue on the driver and to further reduce the prospect of accidents on the national highways. The next important thing would be trauma care centers. By trauma care centers, we mean a center which is located a few kilometers from on the national highway, so that the accident victim can be easily shifted to the trauma care center, and the golden hour in the golden hour he is given the preliminary treatment. So trauma care centers at designated places on the national highway will help in solving the problem of the accident victims. So when we spoke of this the question on infrastructure, especially we tackled the road sector. First we had an introduction, then we showed the problems plaguing the road sector. We said no holistic planning, and how we said intermodal connectivity, how that has not been addressed by the policy planners. So it is resulting in more and more vehicles entering the road and consequent increase in pollution levels. Then imbalance between other modes. So how the road sector is hogging the limelight compared to the other sectors like the rail and the transportation by the sea. Then poor safety conditions. Then we also spoke of how the road sector is highly dependent on the conventional energy. In suggested reforms, we categorized our answer into 3 bits. We spoke of road connectivity, road maintenance, road safety. In road connectivity, we highlighted the importance to connectivity in rural India. We spoke of the ambitious program of providing 35% of the core road network in the rural areas and 2,000 kilometers of coastal connectivity to ports. Then we also spoke of the provisions of the Motor Vehicle Amendment Bill 2016, which had a clear provision of public transport should be shared with the private providers. The question of public transport should not be a state monopoly. Unfortunately, the recommendations of the bill is still pending in Parliament. Then we said increase the coverage of toll connections, make FASTag operational at all the tolls so that waiting time at the tolls gets reduced and the traffic moves smoothly. Then on the problem of road maintenance, we said how there should be additional funds. So we spoke of the budget of the MORH, which earmarks only 5% of the annual budget for maintenance, as contrasted to the US, which earmarks 48% of its budget to road maintenance. Then data to monitor accidents, we gave the example of Tamil Nadu, RADMS, Rapid Accident Data Management System, to map the accidents, to identify the black spots. Then we also spoke of infrastructure on the highways, apart from the motels, dabas, then the truck bays, how sufficient infrastructure so that the driver fatigue on the highway is reduced, and to that extent the accidents are also reduced on the highways. Finally, we spoke of the concept of trauma care centers, how they have to be located within a few kilometers of each highway, especially the places where there are blind spots and places where repeated accidents occur, so that the initial treatment can be carried out at the trauma care center. So for this particular question, I have analyzed the Economic Survey Volume 2, and in this we have covered one important topic on GS3 economy. We have spoken of the road sector. We had an introduction, then we discussed the problems faced, finally we suggested the reforms. So this is a simple question. The answer, you can frame the answer like this, and as I told you, you want to read additionally, you can read, but the basic points which we have covered, you please see that they remain the part of the main answer. Thank you.